It's about 5 miles from where we camped last night. The name of the river is Matanuska, by the way. And we come upon the Matanuska Glacier. This is so cool. I gotta say that of all the roads that we've driven, and I've been to Alaska, I don't know, many times, I guess, and I've never been on this road before, and it is just a fantastic road. It's windy, it's curvy, it's a mountain road, but the scenery and the camping is just phenomenal. This is a great road to ride on, and I mean, who can complain about a view of a glacier, right? As a neat side note to that Matanuska Glacier, there's actually a road that we're going back up that goes right down to the glacier, and for a fee you can do, you know, different glacial things. You can get up on the glacier, you can do a hike, a tour, whatever, all for a fee. I guess there's a guide down there or something. So if you've never been on a glacier before, this is probably a pretty cool way to do it, a pretty easy access. The only thing I would caution is that this road is probably not suitable for an RV. So if you're going to go down this road and across the bridge, you might want to take something smaller. I've never driven an RV, but that would just be my take. We're still rolling north, but we're south of Glen Allen, and we kept getting peaks of this view as the road straightened out, and this is spectacular. If we can get the whole scene in this, it is unbelievable how cool this looks, driving down the road of these snow-capped peaks, and they're just massive. I have no idea how far away those things are, but they are just gorgeous. I mean, if you're driving this road south, you're missing out, because this view is just phenomenal. So we stopped so we could figure out what these mountains were, and they're actually the Wrangels, and Mount Wrangell is in there, and it's actually the largest active volcano in Alaska, and it has been warming up since the earthquake in '64. There were spots on there that had ice 160 foot thick that is now bare rock, and on some days they say it's warm enough that you can actually see steam rising from the mountain. It's warming up so much. We're in for lunch in Glen Allen, and lo and behold, the only restaurant open in Glen Allen, which, as you can imagine, is Ernesto's Latin. So it's tacos and chili rellenos. So we got the 3 taco special. Not exactly what I would have expected as the only restaurant in Glen Allen, but hey, I'm gonna make that work. Good evening. We are now about milepost, I think it's about 12:56, 59. It's south of Tok. We're actually on our way back home, and it felt like that today. Even though we've got about 2 weeks left on this trip, once we turn towards Haines, which is where we're going to catch the ferry, it sort of felt like the trip was ending, which is kind of crazy. These little red squirrels are nuts. They climb the trees, they pick the pine cones off, and then they throw them on the ground, and then they collect them. So they stand up in the trees, they chitter at you, and then they throw pine cones at you. It's really kind of funny. Never seen them do that before. Anyway, we found this great campsite. It's called Lakeview Campsite. They're free campsites, I guess, by the state. And tonight we're at Lakeview, which is appropriately named. We've got the fire going. We're getting ready to cook some dinner. We're gonna go old school and use a packaged noodle mix with some canned chicken. So again, this trip was not about fresh food. This was about packing lots of food as light as possible. So why don't we head back up to the campsite and we'll get cooking. So as I mentioned, tonight's dinner is fancy. We have a Knorr pasta sides chicken flavor. To that, we're gonna add a can of the finest Kirkland chicken breast, just a little dollop of olive oil, and we're just gonna cook that in a deep Banks 8-inch fry bake, alpine pan. We're going to boil that water. We think that pan's plenty deep enough and going to be easy to clean. So we're just bringing the water to a boil and we're going to whip it all together. We're getting the first bit of boiling on this water, but given that we're right in the middle of bear country here, instead of pouring the water out of the chicken can, we just dumped it into here. Hope that would add a little bit of flavor, but since it increased the volume of water, we're going to go ahead and just let a little of it burn off before we add the noodles. Our fire died down a little bit on us, so in order to keep the boil rolling, we just took the fire grate off and we've set the fry bake right in the fire, and it's cooking along nicely. We just added the mix. We're going to go ahead and cook this for the requisite 7 minutes. We're going to toss in the chicken and let it just warm up. Time to eat this beauty. Oh, look at that. That is a chicken casserole fit for a king. I don't think even Uncle Roger could make fun of this one. So we're going to go ahead and dig in and enjoy our dinner. And if the rain holds off, which it's not really doing right now, so I have a little bit of water in my whiskey, which isn't my normal, but it's just a slight sprinkle. We're hoping it kind of holds off. We're going to enjoy this dinner, and then we're going to sit around the fire and enjoy the evening. So thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. That in addition to a highly aggressive strain of mosquito, Edith Creek has been known to turn up a bit of gold. So we decided to take a quick break, use the Banks fry bakes for a bit of a non-traditional use, and see if we could turn up some gold here in Edith Creek. So far, we're not getting any luck, and not really being experienced gold panners. We're not sure if there's some special trick to this, but we're going to give it a shot here and see if we can come out of the Klondike richer than we came in. Sadly, like so many that came before, seeking fame and fortune in the Klondike, we're leaving the Klondike with no extra gold in our pocket and as obscure as we ever were. So I can imagine how those guys must have felt after trekking all the way, hoping to make their riches, and coming home flat busted. Well, we had been lamenting the fact that we haven't seen a grizzly, and we're headed home. And sure enough, we saw a truck just parked alongside the road as we're coming into Burwash Landing. Actually, we're just south of Burwash Landing. And I looked over, and there was the grizzly. But it was very cool. Not only did we get to see our grizzly, I think we saw something a little bit more rare. We saw a grizzly in a pond, splashing around. I don't know if he was hunting for fish or just playing, but he was splashing around, stand up, shake his head off, go back in the water. It was just cool as heck to watch that guy. And the folks had just come from Haines, were on their way back to Anchorage, and gave us some tips on where we'd like to see some more grizzly down in the Haines area. So I think the grizzly viewing is looking up. It is soon to be dinner time at Lake Des Dinesh, which is north of Haines, Alaska. As you saw, we're camped right on the shore of the lake, which is gorgeous. Although we've got some ridiculously brutal wind. We're waiting for the water to heat up. We're gonna do another one of our gourmet freeze-dried or gourmet dehydrated meals. We've chopped up some wood, so we're ready for the campfire tonight. Our pre-dinner dram, we were lucky enough at Haines Junction on the highway where the Haines Highway and the Alaska Highway meet to find a bottle of the Two Brewers single malt peated whiskey. So that's what we're going to have tonight. So thanks for joining us. We do appreciate it. Cheers, and we'll talk to you soon. We've got ourselves a campsite just up the road, but this particular spot on the Chilkoot River is teeming with sockeye salmon that are coming up the river to spawn. Down the river, as you saw, there's a family of grizzlies that are fishing. We've got all kinds of fishermen here that are in the river looking for the fish. And in fact, we just saw one get caught, and I think the guy was pretty happy by the way he sounded. And then right out here, as you can see, they'll pop up every now and then. We have a group of seals that are hunting. So they've come in from the inlet up the river, and they're hunting here in the river as well. They're hard to see, but they pop their heads out every now and then before they dive in after the fish. So this area of the river is extremely productive, and everybody is taking advantage of it. We were going to go to Skagway today on the ferry from Haines to Skagway, spend the day in Skagway. But it's raining and the wind is blowing ferociously. We're actually on the protected side of a little peninsula here, so you don't hear it so much. But it's windy as heck. They canceled all the ferries. So we are now at the Chilkat State Park, and we're just hiking around a little bit, seeing what's in the park. Hopefully we rebook for Saturday. We'll get to Skagway just to check it out, weather permitting. And in the meantime, we're just going to walk around. But this park is really a nice park. It is at the, I guess it's at the farthest part of the peninsula you can drive through, south of Haines. You've got the inlet. I think this is Chilkoot Inlet on both sides of this peninsula. We just arrived in Skagway, standing in front of the Alaska King Crab Leg and Fresh Halibut Fish and Chips hut. And sure enough, these Alaskans are so friendly. First we got free beer, and now they're welcoming us Chicago folks with a big Chicago Bears banner. I'll tell you what, these are some nice people. So Skagway has maintained its sort of local character here, but we've heard from numerous folks that one of the reasons it has is because it is mostly owned by the cruise ship line, and that seems to be a bone of contention amongst some of the locals. And if you can see, there's actually a cruise ship in port today, and a lot of the buildings seem to be sort of these facade storefronts, The original Skagway sort of, what was it, the Native Council or something? Building full of, that was made out of sticks. That front is still here. That's quite cool. And then the Red Onion Saloon, which was a brothel apparently, although it charges $10 to actually tour the brothel, which is probably 10 times what the brothel cost originally. It is a dusky 6 a.m. We are going to line up for the Matanuska, the Alaska Ferry. So the first step is to roll up and check in. Okay, we have just checked in and now we have to queue up. So they tell you, depending on where you're going, which line to get into. So we can pick. We get 3 or 4. I don't think it really matters. So down line 4 we go. This works. And the lineup has started, and there are all sorts of vehicles here, ready to get on the ferry, which is docked just behind us here. So far, the check-in process has been awfully quick and smooth. And as part of the process, before you actually drive onto the boat, they check your tickets and IDs. I think it's like a big jigsaw puzzle getting all these cars on. First line?
Down this lane, they're going to help you back there.
Perfect.
Wait behind that car.
All ready?